If we stand together, we'll never fall. We can make a difference and answer the...
Greetings, everybody. Hello on this Sunday, March 27th, 2022. This is a special bonus episode of the All Around Growth podcast, a show that provides insight and tools to build the life and homestead of your dreams. My name is Rob Kaiser and I am your host. Like I said, this is a special Sunday bonus episode. I am on my way home from the big city again. I was up in Cleveland at St. Sava, Serbian Orthodox Cathedral, again this morning for Divine Liturgy as I continue my spiritual journey. And today, on the ride home, I wanted to talk freely and openly about my experience there again today. We did not experience a bonus episode yesterday, last week rather, because last week was a family day. And I stayed up a little bit later than usual on Saturday night, futzing around and doing some computer stuff with my brother and getting a home network set up at the farm and homestead. So that led to making pancakes early in the morning so that when he woke up, we would all be able to enjoy pancakes and some breakfast sausage links from Richardson Farms, made with eggs from Richardson Farms and milk from Buckeye Country Creamery, and along with Richardson Farms pancake mix. So today, the Sunday schedule is open, and I am really enjoying this 10 a.m. church service. Now, this is the second time I've been up here at the Orthodox Church, and for those of you who are in the Telegram chat at t.me/allaroundgrowth, you will see a photo that I just posted from Donut Land, or outside Donut Land. And this was the place that I tried to hit up last Sunday, or the last time I was up this way. But unfortunately, Donut Land was closed on the Sunday of Orthodoxy after the long service, and it closes at 1 o'clock, so I just made it in time, because these Sunday services at St. Sava have a tendency to go a lot longer than regular church services that I'm accustomed to. But that's okay, because these services, unlike most services that I have attended throughout the course of my adult life, I am moved emotionally in more ways than I ever have been at a service. And that says something, because much of the service is in Church Slavic, if I'm not mistaken, and from what I understand, that is the Russian equivalent, if you will, to Latin, or the Russian equivalent of Latin. I presume that Orthodox churches of the Greek flavor have portions of the service in Greek, and I'm not sure, quite frankly. I'm learning, but highly emotional. And today I experienced something bordering along the lines of some sort of hallucinatory experience, right? And this was very interesting. The last service, along with today, I decided to wear my suit in full. Normally, during the past, I'll wear like a pair of dark blue, quote, dress jeans, right? I'm in the Midwest, and we've got our dress jeans here. And I'll wear that and a sport coat and a nice shirt. More often than not, a tie, but here I wanted to step it up, so I wore my suit. And I arrived early again today, and I almost gave it a second thought when I got up to Interstate 480 from 83. The roads were bad. We got some snow last night, and the crews aren't really on top of it. No one was really prepared for this, so the roads, although the amount of snow was considerably less than we've received in other parts of the winter, it just wasn't managed well. It wasn't plowed. The roads weren't salted, and there was a lot of freezing on top of that. So there were some accidents, and I was not able to get on the highway this morning at 83. So I had to take a few side roads to get down to another exit and then jump on, because they had the highway blocked off, and there were several accidents. And even I was slipping and sliding around this morning, but I decided to go ahead and continue with my journey to St. Saba this morning, because, like I said, I was prepared to get there early and sit and collect myself. And I almost said myselves, which might actually be a more appropriate and accurate statement. But due to the accidents, I was delayed, but I was still there approximately 15 minutes early. And what this is becoming, because I don't understand much of anything, and at least half or more than half of the service is in this Church Slavonic language that I don't understand, and quite frankly, much of the service itself I don't understand. There are certain parallels to a Catholic service that, having been born and raised in the Catholic Church, I have some idea of what's going on, but everything from the beginning of the service to actually from before the service begins, the preparations to the service, people lining up for some kind of blessing prior to the service, to the preparation of the incense, everything, this ritualistic element and the preparation I engage in prior to it, just sitting there, not just sitting there, but sitting there with my back straight, both feet on the ground, very deliberate and intent, breathing diaphragmatically. It allows me to engage in a different headspace, if you will. It allows me to go somewhere. And at this time in the morning, the way that the sun hits the stained glass, and there's more stained glass than any other church I've been in. There's more paintings and more everything. Everything is a sensory overload. And that, I think, is in part why I get so emotional. And because the people there seem to be so deeply committed to their faith, I feel less self-conscious of my tears, and I felt less inclined to wipe them as they came. And I simply allowed the emotions to wash over me and the tears to fall from my face, and to experience everything that I possibly could in these moments. Much of the service was spent with my eyes closed, tears streaming down my face. Other times, my eyes were open, just experiencing everything that was going on around me, taking in the light, the people of all ages, their behaviors, making observations of what people were doing and how, and thinking about why, but really just experiencing everything. And during the sermon, there was talk about goals, which is remarkable, because this is something that I've simply been, for lack of a better term, fixated on, because it is allowing me to dig into this thing that's been troubling me for so long, which is finding my purpose and my passion. For those who've listened to this show for quite some time, and for those of you dedicated listeners who have actually gone back and listened to all the past episodes, and maybe were around for the 1.0 iteration of the show, and have even watched some YouTube videos, the gist of a lot of this content initially, some bumps back there, spilled some coffee. A lot of what I started off doing, right, was doing this to identify my passion and my purpose. And then things morphed. Instead of just my passion and my purpose, it was building the life and homestead of my dreams. And then it became providing tools and insight to build the life and homestead of our dreams, collectively, you and me, together. And as time went on, and we reached a couple hundred episodes, a few hundred episodes, one of the tools and resources that we've discovered is this 2022 Goal Setting Workbook by Dan Miller, author of 48 Days to the Work You Love. Recently, the 20th edition of that book was released, appropriately retitled 48 Days to the Work and Life You Love. And in this, and in much of the content that Dan Miller creates, he talks about finding the, not just simply finding, but creating the life and work that you love. And in the 2022 Goal Setting Workbook, there's a quote by James Michener, I believe is how you pronounce his name, or Michener, about and I'm going to totally paraphrase because I can't think of it, but the successful man is one who is unable to delineate between work and pleasure. Everything is the same. And I believe that that is possible. I've always believed that that's possible. And the 48 Days community, specifically this workbook, has equipped me with some information, some tools and resources to empower me to do that. And this comes after several years of working the Financial Peace University program consistently and with some diligence. And it's about time that I get back into that, because even though I just wrapped up a course on Financial Peace University, and we just finished Lesson 9 last week, I didn't quite go into it in the way that I had in the past. I led the course and I coordinated it, and doing so brought it back to the forefront of my mind, but I really didn't execute with further implementation of the plan like I had in the past. Now, I made some changes and made some drastic changes with how I bank and getting away from the big banks and actually walking the walk, about making some lifestyle changes that are in line with my thoughts and ideologies on these global systems, global institutions. But we're not going to go there today necessarily, because this is the Spiritual Sunday episode. Now, how all that ties into everything is this 2022 Goal Setting Workbook that I initially started talking about has spiritual goals in it. And I initially sat down to talk with the pastor of the church where I'm a member, will likely continue to be a member. I have no reason to relinquish my membership with the church. I'm a part of my community there, and I like the church. It's my church family. But I'm going to find balance with that, and continue to explore my faith through and with the Orthodox faith in this way, because when I feel when I was there, and back to the priest talking about goals, there was some dialogue about the Lenten season and sacrifices that we make, and fasting, and being mindful of the sacrifices that Christ experienced and went through, especially at this time as we approach, Easter, and as we are currently in the Lenten season. This is the time for reflection. This is the time for fasting. This is the time for sacrifice, and that is what I believe. I have been around some other people within the faith who, and then I guess for lack of a better term, in the name of inclusion, there's talk about just how we are good enough and how the Lord will accept us as we are, and I'm not disagreeing with that, but I think there's something to be said for the idea of getting back to basics, if you will, and focusing on the sacrifice, focusing on what it, because I guess that's a big part of it for me, because when it comes to the goals that I've had, and the goals that I have, and the goals that I've had in the past, no matter what the nature of the goal, whether it's a financial goal, whether it's a physical goal, or a personal development goal, or a family goal, or a spiritual goal, or a social goal, or a career goal, I was able to make progress with those goals when I executed upon the goals and took action based on my plan towards those goals. And more often than not, I was able to achieve all of that and achieve it quicker, if you will, through that idea of sacrifice. And especially during the Lenten season, for those of us who are of the Christian faith, I think that is not something to be taken lightly. And at this point in my life, right now, with the ideas and the mindset that I have, it's good for me to be mindful of the idea of sacrifice and goals as well. Yes, well, this morning, actually, as was the case 2 weeks ago, my most recent article on Men of Order was published, and I wrote about this exact thing today, spiritual goals. And the title of my article is Why You Need Spiritual Goals to Enhance Your Masculinity. And I'll see if I can't link to that when I get home and get this uploaded. Because that falls in line. There were some things that fell in line with the article last week and the whole experience with the church last week, and what I wrote about with family goals. And it is appropriate today that we are talking about spiritual goals. And my next article will be on social goals, which may actually dovetail and pair nicely with my spiritual goals and some of the other goals that I've had as well. And I think by the time I wrap up this series with the talk on career goals, it will bring some closure to where I'm at and what I'm feeling in terms of getting my feet wet with Men of Order, and that's exciting because then I can start writing about. There's no reason why I can't do this now. It's just that I decided to write a series because I was a little bit nervous about not having anything to write about. But we've got such a good team with Men of Order that I'm learning how to come up with topics that about things that I would not normally write about or speak about, and that's also translating over into the show here. Which is why last week I decided to announce that the show would have a little bit of a different format with a Motivational Monday show, which is actually going to be a motivational or a Men of Order Monday. Tuesday we'll have some content from trending Twitter topics. Wednesday is going to be a homestead update, which will allow me to stack functions for those of you permaculture folks out there and get ready for the monthly newsletters. Thursday will be maybe I forget now. Thursday will be the homestead update. Wednesday will be something. Friday will be an audience feedback show, and Saturday will be just a day off from content creation, at least in terms of the podcast. Sunday, periodic Sundays, will be these bonus episodes, likely free talking about the spiritual aspect of my life, because I wrote about this a little bit. I think what happens for a lot of us, and if you read the article, it's going to be geared towards men because that's what the Men of Order blog is, but it's not simply specific to men if you're reading the article and you're a woman. If you can't get your head around the idea of just changing a word around in an article to suit your needs, then this isn't the show for you, and nor is that the article for you. You'll have to find something else because, there's good content out there that's simply written for another audience, but if you have the mental fortitude to change it and adapt it in a means and way that fits you in your appropriate or particular context, then you are at an advantage from people who cannot. So if you find yourself being one of the latter, please give some additional thought and consideration into how you view the world around you. And I'm going to get to concluding this, I suppose, likely before I actually pull in the driveway, because I'm running out of steam and things to talk about here. But yeah, that's it. We'll have periodic Spiritual Sunday episodes in conjunction with the rest of how the show will be. Oh, where I was going with that thought, though, is that we a lot of the times, for those of us who are familiar with goals, set goals, different aspects of our life, many times we're very familiar with financial goals. Get out of debt, save X amount of money, invest X amount of dollars, put X percentage into your 401k. You know the drill. We're also likely familiar with physical goals. Lose X amount of pounds, run X amount of miles per week, work out, go to the gym X amount of times per week, bump up our numbers for a bench press or squat. I mean, you understand how goals work. But one area of our lives where I think we oftentimes drop the ball or don't think about goals is with our spiritual lives. And this article that I wrote will provide some insight and tools to doing that. And I've yet to actually promote the podcast through Men of Order, because that's not my aim. It's not my goal with contributing in the way that I am. I have some goals, but that's something I'll get into another time, if I get into it at all, because sometimes I think it's best to not necessarily articulate all of our goals publicly. You know, we can, and I think we should articulate our goals to people in our lives so that we can experience something related to accountability or what have you, you know? And sometimes the public dialogue about this is my own way of accountability, but sometimes there are things that I think are best not put out in the public spheres. So guys, yeah, that's it. Check the show notes for the Men of Order article, and stay tuned in the future for more episodes on Spiritual Sunday, and more episodes on how to find balance in life in general. This is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.
In a world of pain, what can I do? The needs are many, and answers are few. People turn away, and I wonder why. love. And truth is always the best way to the world that may seem odd. I'm an odd fellow. I'm an odd fellow. I'm an odd fellow. If we stand together, we'll never fall. We can make a difference and answer the call. You know the times are wasting every day, and we can help somebody along the way. People may think that it's odd that I believe in friendship and love. Truth is always the best way to the world that may seem odd. I'm an odd fellow. You're an